Hi everybody, I'm Sandra Mom.
I'm Ben Son.
It is 2 years since we've been doing our Spirit to Live YouTube channel. Yay! We're thrilled. We didn't think 2 years ago we'd be going this long, and we really thank you all. And that's why we've been going this long, is because we have gotten so much support, and I've gotten many private messages over the last 2 years from people sharing their stories, giving their opinion. We've learned. It's been incredible. And so what we thought we would do for our 2-year anniversary is give you a backstory. Before these videos started, Ben's going to share what you've been through with addiction and what led us to doing the videos.
Yeah,
So,
well, 2 years ago, I was 3 months clean or whatever. So that was just before we started the videos. But before that, I was in the knee deep or head deep in doing everything. Like I was 14 years old when I first started using substances, and started with laced weed and then coke and crack and meth and whatever. It just keeps going on. Basically everything I can get my hands on. And at my house, when I lived back in the day, when I first started doing all these heavy stuff, my house was like a base. It was like a HQ, a headquarters for drugs and criminal crimes and stuff. And like, it got pretty bad because all I'd focus on is just getting money, doing whatever I had to do to get for my substance of choice at the time. And
yeah.
I don't know, like.
And you know, Ben, you were saying that you've been using all these different drugs, and you were knee deep in it, and you know, you're saying what you've been doing, like the different drugs, the Fent, the benzos, like, you know, even cough syrup. I know for me, I started learning, like, holy crap, this is a lot of stuff. And what I started to notice was his behavior was changing. You were losing a lot of weight, Ben.
I only weighed like 130 or 135 or something like that. And that's really bad for a size 6 foot tall kind of person. Like,
yeah,
I should be at least, I'm about 170, 180 now, which is a healthy weight, you know what I mean? Before I was like 130, so that says something.
Yes.
That says how thin I was, you know what I mean?
And you were saying you thought you looked ripped.
Yeah,
like how distorted your thoughts.
I just thought I had muscles, but that was just I was really skinny and I was unhealthy, and I just thought I was ripped, and I was like, oh wow, I'm strong. Because I was working out kind of when I was doing the drugs. I just thought I was just getting stronger. But I was really just killing myself slowly.
Yeah, and you know, the emotions that came with it, like your behavior, you were full of anger, and you were destructive and breaking and punching holes and stuff.
Yeah, like my HQ, so to speak, was destroyed. I put holes in the wall. If my dad said something I didn't like, I'd loogie on the carpet or punch a hole in the wall or cuss him out, or
it was horrible.
I did whatever the heck I wanted, you know what I mean? Like, it was my base. I considered it my house when it wasn't my house. I controlled it, you know what I mean? It was horrible.
It was horrible. And Ben, do you remember, like, I mean, when I look back, first of all, we wouldn't be having these conversations back then because there was no way. And secondly, you were just so full of anger and no emotion. You didn't care about anybody.
Towards some of my friends even too. If they didn't do it, I'd cuss them out, or sometimes I'd even hit my friends if they pissed me off.
Yeah, and you didn't like anybody or anything.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember being angry all the time, or were you just in another world where you were happy? Because all I saw was anger.
I had people tell me I walked around with an angry look on my face. Even when I didn't feel I was angry, I'd have an evil, menacing look on my face, and people were scared just by looking at me, you know what I mean? And so, I don't know. I don't really remember always being angry, but I was pretty angry for a lot of the time.
But I saw what your friends saw, Ben, because your eyes were like evil. And during this, when Ben was going through all that, I was going through my own stuff. And I started to learn about addiction once I realized what was going on. Because there is denial there for a while, because it's like, well, no, it's not that bad. But you know, like I mentioned in the last video, you were in the hospital
like 40 times.
Yeah, but you were using heroin and stuff, and it's like, you know, that's when I really started, and that was about 4 years ago, I think, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, for me, it got so bad that when I would see you, because we wouldn't see each other that often, but when I did see you, and it makes me emotional thinking about it, I was afraid I wouldn't see you again.
Yeah.
Because the hospitals, you were in and out of the hospital. I was calculating 2017. That was the year where you were in and out of the hospital.
Yeah.
Over 40 times.
Sometimes
overdosing.
I won't even tell them. Sometimes twice or 3 times in one day. If that even is possible, but it was. That's what I did. They let me out hour after I let out, 2 hours after I'm let out, I'm back in. You know what I mean? Like, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
You would overdose. They'd revive you.
Yeah.
And then you'd go back out and use.
Yeah. And
overdose.
Yeah.
Go back out. Overdose. And
it was
again,
just
like
bad like cycle.
Yeah. So during this time, you know, we talk about the broken system, and I got to say, I'm hoping things have changed a bit with the hospitals, but you know, we talk about why we do these videos. It's to educate people and know that this happens and that we are being as real and open with our story.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to say, looking back, because now I could say, I know what supports are out there. I know about medically assisted treatment. I know about the detoxes. I know a lot of those things, but here you have somebody going in and out of the hospital.
We didn't know any of this stuff back then.
Nobody, and I was usually there, especially at the beginning, because I was like, oh my gosh.
I call her from the hospital off either the hospital phone or my phone, and she'd be getting calls all the time and coming to visit me. And
I would talk to the doctors, but not once did anybody say, you know, here's some information. Here's some pamphlets. Here's what you can do. Here's some support. I know as the loved one, I would have truly appreciated somebody in the hospital reaching out and telling me this, especially when they got to know you. I got to know the doctors. I knew the staff. I knew the shifts.
We knew where we were in the hospital.
And I mean, believe me, I'm in support of our healthcare workers, and I appreciate everything that they do. My only thing is, when I'm talking about addiction, it would be nice to have some more support.
Or more options. Or
more options.
At least.
So Ben got really deep into your usage, and the thing for me is when I'd see you and I'd say goodbye, with all these overdoses, I didn't know if it was going to be the last time that I was going to see you.
Yeah, it was pretty tough.
And I don't know if you remember me saying and crying and kissing you and telling you how much I love you. And it was because I didn't know if that was going to be the last time that I would see you. And I look back and I can feel it in my heart. It's just, but on a good note, you survived it.
Yeah.
You are here. You know, also before we started this, you had criminal charges.
Yeah.
You went to court.
I had 5 charges on my last court time.
Yes. And I think that's when things started to change.
Well, that's when when I got arrested, that was before I was super into drugs. I was into drugs a lot, yeah, but that's not when I was in the worst of drugs. I stopped doing the crime, like selling or stealing or whatever the hell I was doing at the time. I started to lessen the crime, but then I still had money, so I got more into drugs because I wasn't doing anything with my life. I was just sitting there just doing drugs, so I just ended up doing more and more drugs, whatever I can get my hands on, and then that's when I learned about other drugs. And
and the cycle went on for many, many years.
Oh yeah, it got worse and worse until I almost died many times, and not even just from overdose, but from health and not being
damage to your heart.
Everything, lots of things. Lots of things. Being skinny and
it was bad. But you know, and so skip ahead. Here we are, 2020. We've been doing these videos for 2 years, and things changed. Things did change.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to give you that backstory, and the reason we started this is because of our experiences, because I've learned that people don't share their stories, and since we've been doing this, we have learned about more people, and we know from the stats how many deaths there are for overdoses. I'm not going to get into that, but we're here, we are real, and we are going to continue doing this. We're going to actually If you're interested, we hope that you stick with us and you tune in for our next video. We're going to do a part 2. And we're going to talk about the last 2 years, and we're going to talk about Ben, you're going to share like what got you to this point where you're clean. You're clean 3 months now. Yay. First of all, yay. Like, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about everything that we've learned over the last 2 years. And we just want you to know that
you're not alone.
You're not alone. Yeah, and you could do this.
There's always people out there with a story. Everybody's got a story, and it's just not everybody's willing to share the story and open up about it. A lot of people hide it because they're maybe embarrassed or something, or whatever the reason is.
Yeah.
But like, it's time to open up so people get awareness, and the more people open up, the more that people are going to start talking about it, and maybe make it more okay to talk about versus the stigma where everybody hides it all the time. If we start talking more about it, then hopefully it'll become more in the line of sight for people, and we can do something.
And people will get help, because the worst part that I see is that I've talked to a number of people that I've met through the YouTube channel, telling me that they don't even tell their family what's going on. And I know for me, if I didn't get support for myself and learn and educate, I couldn't imagine keeping this a secret. I understand people aren't out there like us and sharing their story like this, but we're doing this because we want you to understand that we're not the only ones in this boat, so to speak. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people in the same situation, but because of the stigma, because they're embarrassed or they feel shame or whatever the reason, they're not getting the support and help they need.
Yeah.
And we're here to say, you can do it. If we can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, just because I can do it doesn't mean you can't,
That's right.
I'm an ordinary guy like everybody else here. Mm-hmm. Everybody's equal.
Yeah.
We all have a chance in life,
So stay tuned. We're going to post another video in a couple of days. And just remember, where there is breath,
there is hope.
Amen. Take care, everybody.
Peace.
Thanks.